Alo Elele, Talo Falava, and Bula Vanaka. Welcome back to Pacific Stories in America. Today we're talking with JT the artist.
Hi, I'm JT the artist. I also want to add, thank you for having me on this show. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Thanks for making time for us.
hmm
So we're going to begin.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Okay, JT the artist, can you see the slideshow?
Yes, I can see the slideshow. I can see it in full screen.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so tell us more about yourself.
Uh, Firstly, I'm just a teenager. I go to high school, and I've lived in many different parts of the San Francisco city, but I still live here in San Francisco, California, because it's where I've always been. I've grown up here, and I'm not just Polynesian, but I'm also Melanesian. I'm part Fijian, Tongan, and Samoan.
Very interesting background, very Pacific. And so what inspired, for instance, right now on our next page, can you see your logo? Just making sure we're in sync. You see your logo?
Yes, I can see my logo.
Okay. So what inspires you to draw sketches? You're a sketch artist and you've expanded to digital art as well, but what inspires you to draw sketches? Essentially, what inspires you to make art?
So, what essentially inspires me to make art, I suppose, I guess, is that it's out of creativity. Because usually when I have a thought in my head, whether it's wanting to draw something, whether it be like a drawing from an image that I'm trying to sketch, or whether I'm thinking about drawing something, I mostly just I mostly just try to like draw it onto different uh different different things. Sometimes I'll draw on like paper. So now I'm doing digital art where I'm drawing on a tablet, which is very new to me because I started only all my life. I've only been doing traditional artwork, usually on a paper with only having like a pencil in my hand.
Hmm?
But basically, I'm just trying to like what inspired me to do sketching and as well as artwork is mostly just creativity and just wanting to like show it to other people, I suppose.
Yeah. And before we go on to the other questions, just wanted to go over your art. So we moved on to the next page. As of kid, what was the inspiration beside? What was the inspiration behind this image?
So this image is inspired after the anime Naruto. It's a Japanese show that's animated, and I've watched it's kind of like paying homage to that because I really liked the show. So I added a little bit of not just like some creativity, not I also added like what I basically like a lot, which is not just Naruto and I guess like anime in general because I started watching it, but
Yeah.
also SF because this is where my hometown is, like this is
Mhm.
where I'm from, and I'm pretty much a local around here in San
Mhm.
Francisco, so I've gotten used to the city.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
You're second generation American. Full disclosure, this is my nephew, JT the artist. But San Francisco, you know that it's been home for us for a very long time. You're second generation American, and so I mean, talk about being immersed in American culture. Not only this is all you've known, but you know, similar to your mom, who's first generation American. But yeah, very interesting story, and I like the contributions from both San Francisco and anime into this image. And moving on to the next one, do you see the shark and turtle?
Yes, I do see I do see the shark and turtle.
Yeah, so what inspired you to create this one? This one is even more vivid. So this is, again, pen to paper. What inspired you to draw this?
So what inspired me to draw that was simply just a random like thought in my head. I remember when I was a kid, I was watching with my family some Samoan as well as like Polynesian folklore and tales. I saw this one, I have very faint memories of this, but it was this one video that talked about the shark and the turtle, where this is just all I remember from it, but a man and a woman I that I believe that were married, they basically turned into the the shark and turtle. The man was the shark and the woman was the turtle. And also, I also did this type of artwork. I did this, I drew the animals such as the shark and turtle, but I also did like cartoons and little doodles on it. That that part is basically from it's basically from a style of another artist that I've seen when I was in eighth grade, back when I used to draw a lot, and it was from this artist named Vex. He's a
Beautiful.
YouTuber. I used to watch him a lot. I still kind of do, but basically he does doodles and uses his art and basically makes like draws like cartoons, and I just kind of wanted to do his style as an inspiration. So basically, I
Nice.
just did it as an inspiration, as not just a random thought in my head, but also as an inspiration from this drawing style of the artist Vex.
Yes, very, very interesting, and nice shout out to the YouTuber Vex and his influence on this artwork, as well as showing off culture. So, you know, because you're part Samoan, you know, it's neat that you were able to infuse that into your artwork, tell a story through visuals, and you know, be unique about it, because the way you've put this together, you've drawn it, it's not just an islander influence, as you mentioned. The YouTuber slash artist Vex also had an influence on this sketch. Now we're moving on to the next page. Can you see, just making sure we're still in sync, can you see the image?
Yes, I can see the image.
Okay, and you see the Fanaika design, the beautiful Fanaika design that you made?
Yes, I see the Fanaika design.
All right, so tell us more about this. What inspired you to design this Fanaika image?
So what inspired me to create this image was simply out of respect. Just to clarify, a lot of my artwork is mostly sometimes a little bit out of like paying homage and putting a little bit of respect on something or someone. So this one is not just is basically for the Fanaika family. Uh,
Yeah, for your grandma.
and
That's your on your
yeah,
grandma's side.
yeah, and I also wanted to do it in like I guess like very I suppose so I guess I did it out of using very few colors, using only the colors of white, black, and uh, red and gray, mostly because, and the only reason why is because I was still new um to the new style of like drawing on iPad, because I have a tablet, but I mostly am kind of new to drawing on tablets, since, as I said before, I'm usually doing it on usually traditionally on paper and usually using like a pencil. But so this basically was new to me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fun to watch you evolve as an artist, because as our audience can see, you know, there's this evolution in your art going from pen to paper, and then challenging yourself and trying to make digital art, successfully making digital art, and teaching yourself along the way, because it's not like you're in art college, you're just a teenager, you know, and you're learning as you go and having fun doing so. But this is just very raw talent. I like the details that you put in your art. For instance, in the Fanaika design, I like the scales. I believe I'm looking at scales on the shoot fish, the fish with the dynamite.
Yes,
And
those are scales.
yeah, and then even if you look close to the net on the bottom right, you can see kind of a tattoo design embedded in the net. But it really tells the story behind the name Fanaika, Fanaika. So my understanding is the loose translation is shoot fish, and you capture that in your image, and it's not really a black background, it's more of a transparent background. If you go to stores, and you can find the stores on the blog that you see on the screen, um, talking to the audience, then you will see that the image is available on different backgrounds, because the background is actually transparent. But here on this slideshow, you'll see that it's a black background. It's really beautiful, especially with the strategic choices of white, red, and gray, because then the name Fanaika can pop, and there's still a story being told through images. So we're going to move on to the next one. So this one is pretty incredible. Again, this is a self-taught artist. We're talking to JT, the artist. And when you came up with this one, I was even more blown away. Your management team, Fanaika Fangao Consulting, is you know, a team of 2 managers, my sister and we managed JT, the artist. And well, when we saw this particular image, we were already blown away with the Fanaika design, but then, you know, challenging yourself and creating this one. And I think this is not one we had asked for. This is one that you just felt inspired to make. It's so beautiful, very detailed, very unique. Can you tell us more about the heart of the city, about this design?
So SF, or as in heart of the city, this design was simply made out of an inspiration for my love for San Francisco. I've lived here like almost all my life. Uh I've been a local for a long time, I suppose, and I just wanted to pay some homage. I also wanted to I used the colors of gold. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
Yes.
I used gold in the middle as a little uh I used the color gold and yellow in the middle, and on the top and bottom there's red and blue. And the reason why is because one, the top, I just used yellow since they're both used by other by sports teams such as the Golden State Warriors that wear the colors blue and yellow,
Hmm.
and the 49ers that have the red and yellow as well. So it's basically like um it's like sort of like a transition, as well as a, I suppose, shouting out to those teams.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I don't really watch a lot of sports, but knowing that they're from my San Francisco city, which, by the way, here in the Bay Area, San Francisco is known by the city as if the same as almost as Oakland being referred to as like the town. But basically, what I'm trying to say is this was just basically, it was basically an inspiration to pay homage to my hometown and where I'm
Nice.
from.
Yeah, and I can tell this is a San Francisco image made by a San Franciscan, and you describing yourself just confirms that. But also, I love again, going back to the details. So I'm seeing, it looks like perhaps tattoo designs in the what looks like ripples off of the heart, and I see some design in the blue and some design on the top right. Can you tell us a little about what those images are?
Yeah, so those images at the bottom, as you can see, I basically drew like tried to draw the bottom of the Bay Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, which is
Nice.
basically what San Francisco is known for. It's basically like one of our I suppose you could say iconic things about the city.
Yes.
And so I added like small tattoos in it, but
Yeah.
also I added some waves at the bottom to ensure that it was below it. And
Mhm.
at the top, I put the numbers on the top left of the heart, 415. If you don't know what the 415 stands for, basically 415 is basically like the home code area around here in the city. So basically, it's like our iconic. It's like those three iconic numbers are for San Francisco, as well as like where like actually I was gonna say that it's probably iconic at least like for people from Oakland and basically other people from the Bay Area, but I don't know that much about the other places in the Bay Area, so I'll just say that it's basically just for like San Franciscans. And
Nice.
and I also want to add that I also did some tattoo. I also added like in the top right, you can see I drew like what was supposed to be a small football to ensure the type of sports that are played by which team. So the
Mhm.
49ers are like a football team, and at the bottom you can see GSW or Golden State Warriors.
Nice.
Next to that is basketball. So it
Mhm.
was just showing
Very
a lot of,
authentic. Mhm.
yeah, lots of like respect and and love for my city and its teams.
Nice. Well, JT, the artist, when was the first time you made art? So you're a teenager now, so you're still young, but was it recently? Did you make art perhaps in kindergarten, maybe pre-K? When was the first time you made art?
So the first time I made art was around when I started learning how to do art. Basically, back when I was in kindergarten at such a young age, I kind of hated it, I suppose. I used to hate the way I drew things because as a kid in art, when I was in art class in kindergarten, I would see all the pictures. I would have like one of those art books that would show you how to draw like a really cool snake, and then I would draw like then as a kid I would always try to replicate that, but I end up drawing like some green scribble with two eyeballs. And so I would get yeah. So like I would get like I suppose I guess upset at myself a little bit, but then I started doing learning a lot more to a point where now I'm able to basically try to not even just not also just replicate from such such images if I were to draw something, but also out of my own head because I want to do things out of my own style.
Um, that's great. And what do you like best about drawing?
I suppose the result of it, and not just that, the process. Drawing for me is sort of a calming time for me. I mean, sometimes, I draw like, uh, I usually draw characters and animals, but I've had some difficulty with drawing other things as well. As a kid, I always try to draw like vehicles, like planes, cars, and I also used to like cars a lot in middle school. So I tried to draw specific types like muscle cars, lowriders, but I will always have, and not only that, but I still have a pretty difficult time on trying to draw them. So what I'm trying to say is, um, drawing for me is sort of a calming space, basically.
Yeah.
It's where I can use it to calm down if I want to draw something simply, and it's basically almost anything basically that one thing in my life that I've known how to do ever since I was little.
That's a real gift. That's a real gift. So it sounds like it's therapeutic in that it's soothing. It also sounds like it's a great way to express yourself. And I was wondering during COVID, uh, during this pandemic, has it been helpful, for any reason, whether it's like a good distraction, art has been a good distraction, has it like maybe helped calm you during this, worrying time? How has it helped you during this pandemic?
It's sort of helped me because the reason why is because since I guess it's kind of helped me in a way, not just for calling, but also in like trying out new things. As I said, uh, I've been trying to draw like different art styles, trying out different things. I've tried to draw hyper realistic. I've tried to draw like cartoonish in a way. I've seen a lot of different art styles, and it's really fascinated me. So I guess I've been trying to like do my own a little inspiration off of them in a way, and it's also I forgot what I was going to say, but basically it's pretty beneficial, I guess, to me in a
Yeah,
way.
during Koviki, it's a strange time. How some of us islanders pronounce the virus that's going around as Koviki, and uh, it's a strange time because it's affecting the whole world at the same time and out of our control. At the same time, this year is different from last year in that we know more about, we have more facts pertaining to that and the vaccine and so on. And I just imagine that for teenagers, for young people, it may even take a bigger toll for you guys because you guys are excited about your future. And during a global pandemic, it's kind of hard to even imagine a future. But I think that's where art plays a role because it can help us imagine a future despite the chaos. I think art can help us create a future. It can help, like for instance, when someone is worried, sometimes it's hard to visualize, but through art, you tend to visualize because for instance, in your case, you're putting pen to paper, you're putting a stylus to a touch screen, and you are then creating whether a random image or possibly the future. It's a little more, for me, it's a little empowering when I make art or when I watch artists do their work. It's empowering because it's neat to bring an idea to the real world, to manifest, a concept in our head, whether it's a serious one or more lighthearted, and bring it out into the open where others can witness it. I think it's a great thing. So I'm so glad that you are continuing to develop your talent. It's a God-given talent. You were just born with it. And I'm glad that you are, just challenging yourself. And, before you were a sketch artist, from pen to paper or pencil to paper, and now you're bravely, trying to continue to express yourself, but on the digital screen. And so, yeah, great job and keep on going. Do you think you'll try other art styles and materials?
Well, I might try. I mean, I there are some things that I've always actually wanted to try, not just like it's revolving around like drawing, but also I've also wanted to try something like I guess spray paint and try to do graffiti. And just to clarify, I don't mean like do like the illegal version of graffiti where I just have like random cans of spray paint, go to a random building in the city and just spray stuff on there.
So you're not going to go into a life of crime.
No. But like I want to do it on like one time I remember first having a spray can. It was a white spray can, white can of spray paint, and I basically one time I used it while being in a house with my parents still. I didn't take it outside. I spray painted like a piece of cardboard that I cut out. I basically tried to do like that thing where you cut an you know, when you cut an outline of something, you had two. It's hard to explain, but I basically tried to spray paint on the cardboard, and nonchalantly I spray painted on it, messed it up, and I also brought a foul. Also brought, like, you know, cans of spray paint. They'll bring like a foul smell in your vicinity. So it would have been better for me to just straight up just take it outside, so that way it wouldn't be in the house or the building. And it basically I got my parents mad at me that day.
Yeah. And put yourself in danger. But I guess you learn as you go. I mean, that's kind of the nature of being a self-taught artist. So it sounds like you're forced to experiment and try different things, and perhaps art school will be in your future where you'll be able to get some tips and tricks to kind of experiment more safely. But yeah, I could see that happening. That story you just shared, I could see that happen. But I mean, we live, we learn, and you guys are safe and sound now.
Yeah. I think that was actually not only the first, but also the last time, because I haven't held. I think my dad took away the spray paint. I think my dad took away the spray paint after that day.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
I did want to just mention as well for viewers that, I mean, you probably won't see this in JT the Artist blog or social media, but I just wanted to show off that he's also a dancer. So you've performed Samoan dancing and Tongan dancing, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and so I think that's really, I mean, just showing off how big the art world is. I mean, there's dance, there's other ways to express ourselves. In your case, visual arts. Your Uncle Gali was a photographer in the Fanaika side of the family. Very creative, very talented, big on singing and dancing, and also visual art. So it's just wonderful to see that you're continuing the tradition and continuing the talents. I think that's such a great way we can stay connected with our ancestors, is to practice things that they did, and we bring it into our own lives. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get ready to wrap up. How can viewers support your artwork?
Well, firstly, they can support me by checking out my blog that I have in the link of my bio on my Instagram, which is j.t._the artist.
Yes.
And you guys can check that. They can check that out, and they can also check out the fact that I also have another store, a Redbubble store. That's also in the link of my bio.
Mhm.
If that they can also check out, by the way.
Mhm.
And they can check
And
out. They can
the
like
first
check out
store.
my. Yeah, this is my spring. This is my spring shop, and this is basically where I sold a lot. Sold where basically my art is on clothing apparel, as you can see, like on the image on the slideshow right here. There's like the SF Kid, I think
Yes, SF
is
Kid is
on the.
featured on in your spring store. There's also Shark and Turtle and the Fanaika design. So those three there are there. The Heart of the City, that design will be uploaded to both stores soon. But again, as JT the artist was explaining, you can get wearable art at his spring store, and you can get artwork, for instance, like an acrylic block or poster or stationery with his original art. You can get that in his Redbubble store. So you have two stores to choose from: Redbubble store for artwork and Spring store for wearable art. And they have his designs, his original artwork. And then also in closing, before we actually head out, did you want to give any shout outs, JT, to artists? You want to shout out perhaps your families, your family lines, grandma, anything?
Well, yeah, actually, I do have a few shout outs. So like, I've been thinking in my head, as you know how I've done the Fanaika redesign. I've been thinking about doing not just the Fanaika, but also the Fangao and Taliti family name
Nice.
as a design too. And I also might add some like Samoan, or not just Samoan,
Yes.
but Pacifica art
Yes.
style, such as like tattoos and probably more stories, as if it was like the more stories, as if like the shark and turtle design.
Yes.
And I think I also want to shout out to like those who are in San Francisco. Anybody who wants to, there's this place that I go to that I've been going to for a long time, by the way, known as Pacific Islanders Youth Alliance. You got it's over close in it's in Visitation Valley, but it's basically where we learn more about our culture, and by our culture I mean like Pacifica and in general, because but we also learn like songs, we do dances, and it's not just songs and dances. We basically have like place. It's basically where you can chill out. Basically, it's it's a time. It usually happens in summer, but this can happen like this can this can how do I say this right? Uh Basically it's where you can just chill out, and it's a good place to go to if you want to not just chill out but also learn more about Polynesian culture, and I mean Pacific Islander culture.
Yes.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, that's basically it's also known as SEDC, which is also Samoan Development Community Center, if you guys want to see it.
Nice. So I love these shout outs. You explain to the audience, keep an eye out for additional designs, including a possible Fangao design. And also for your Taliti family, fear not, there will be a Taliti design that is in the works. So for a Taliti design, any Talitis out there, you can expect to see your name on wearable art and artwork. So, stay tuned. Make sure to follow the JT the Artist blog so you can stay up to date on new designs, whether you look at it on his Instagram or you browse through his two stores, his Redbubble store and his Spring Shop. In addition to that, I also heard that you are going to include more Pasifika designs, possibly on tattoos and possibly regarding stories, like continuing to draw the stories of Pasifika culture. And I also love the shout outs to PIYA in Viz Valley. So for Samoans and Pacific Islanders in San Francisco, want to learn more about Pacific culture and network and connect with other youth, PIYA is for you. And then also that is, I believe, part of the program of SCDC, Samoan Community Development Center, SCDC. And again, that's in San Francisco. So great job on shouting those out. And also, if anyone wants to contact you, how can they reach you?
They can hit me up with a direct message or DM me on my work, or rather on my JT the Artist Instagram. They can DM me and I'll try my best to answer it as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you for joining me for another episode of Pacific Stories in America. Thank you, JT the Artist. Keep on drawing and keep cultivating your God-given, your natural talents. And thank you for watching and supporting.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I feel like it was a pretty good time.